Hello. So today I'm going to look at some revision techniques. Now, often with my students, I talk about this idea of active recall, where you're trying to revise in a way that makes you think hard about what you're doing. Today's technique we're going to look at is called dual coding. It's effectively writing and producing drawings at the same time. In my opinion, the sillier and the more abstract, the better, because it just makes the revision task more memorable. So I'm going to show you my task working the way through, and then you can pause at certain points and try this yourself, and hopefully it's a technique that you'll find useful. Cheers. Okay, so the idea of dual coding is that we produce illustrations that help to underline the key concepts of what we're trying to remember. And the act of doing this, instead of just copying down information, should help you to retain more knowledge. I've attached to this video a list of key terms that I've written with definitions taken from the AQA GCSE, which is pretty extensive, but it doesn't necessarily cover everything that can come up in your exam. And they've got very brief, sort of student-friendly language descriptions of what the things mean. But we want to try and provide on here some kind of illustration or context that makes it more memorable. So here you can see I'm talking about automation. Automation means the process of making a manufacturing process automatic. And the easiest example for that is about robotic systems being used to create cars. So here I've done a cartoon style robot that's building the cars. And the point I'm trying to get across is that the robotic systems are more expensive and more efficient. But once you've done those setup costs, it enables you to produce the cars at a much cheaper price point. Whereas the humans who used to produce the cars weren't as skilled or as accurate as the robots, but you could start making things straight away without the huge setup costs. And that's what's happening in the dialogue here between the two made up characters. Now we're moving on to look at crowdfunding. Okay, crowdfunding effectively is using a website like GoFundMe. So we're thinking about someone who's got an idea for a business that they want to produce a product for. They've got the idea, they think people will like it, but they don't have the capital, the money behind them to set it up. So this guy is saying, hey guys, I designed a sick new beard oil, but he hasn't got the money to produce it. So he's going to put it on a website like GoFundMe for a price point. And if enough people commit to buying at that price, he will then use that money, which will be released for him to produce the product and sell it to those people, generally at a lower price point than it would be in the future. So all of these bearded hipsters down here are saying, hell yeah, we want the beard oil. So they all commit their money, and then the product goes into production. It's important on here that I've divided my page into sections so it doesn't become muddled. It's much more effective to organise your revision than do a mind map. So these are keywords that don't really necessarily fit in anywhere else. They're just terms that you'll need to know for section A of your exam and potentially section B. Next up now, virtual marketing and retail. A very simple one to understand once you've heard of it. Traditional marketing, which means advertising, would have been done through things like billboards and advertisements in magazines, not virtual. Whereas virtual marketing is things that are done online. So if you go onto a website and you get a pop-up that says, in this case, try dog. This is from the RSPCA trying to suggest that people buy dogs. So this is a website-based thing. That is virtual marketing. You go onto Instagram and you look at sponsored posts that keep popping up and you think, I'm not sure what these relate to anything. This is virtual marketing, also suggesting that dogs would be an excellent choice for you and your family. That's a sponsored post. That's another great example of virtual marketing. The next term we're looking at is cooperative. Now, a cooperative is a group of people who work together for mutual gain. So a company that could be started where it is run by its investors and they get money out of it. They also are shareholders and collectively they make the business work, rather than having one sort of dark overlord boss who takes all the money and then just dishes out money to the individual people as little as possible so they can take all of the money for themselves, like some very big companies that we are all aware of. So here, this person is saying, hey guys, should we work together towards a common goal? And they're going, hell yeah, and share the profits, which is this utopian example of a cooperative. You can probably pick up by now that I'm not being too serious about the examples that I use, because I want to be able to remember them. And the purpose of doing the drawings, no matter how bad they are, is to make the pages stand out from one another. You could then cut these up and make them into flashcards if you wanted to, but the act of doing this and thinking about how you're going to draw these things is the revision exercise in itself. So here we have, of course, a farmer and then an evil businessman saying, I'll give you 1p for that banana. This is referring to fair trade. The farmer says, no way, that is not fair. So then the businessman comes back and says, 10p? And the farmer says, fairs. Fair trade. The sale is fairer than it was before. Finally on this video, market research. So remember, the purpose of this video was to understand what dual coding is, the idea of drawing and writing to enable you to take in more information when you're revising. Market research is when you use a group of people to test whether your ideas about your product are correct. You'll have seen adverts where it said, this shampoo makes your hair shinier, and at the bottom it will say 99 out of 100 people surveyed agree. Here, our designer is saying, this new cereal is dope. I better check if people agree before I start production. Otherwise, he could roll into production with great setup costs and make a massive loss. So let's see what these guys think down here when they try the cereal, the market research focus group. They're chowing down what their face is going to be like. It's good news. They're happy. The cereal is great. The market research has paid off and we can now roll into production. I hope that's been useful for you guys. That's dual coding, thinking about how to use images and text as a method for revising. Give it a go and hopefully it will have a great impact.